Little farm boy. Moved to L.A. in 1989.
You did? What
Yep.
for?
Had a dream. I didn't have $500 to my name. I was a professional bodybuilder. Got tired of the small town. Cried all the way out there. 3 weeks later, I was working for Kathy Smith.
That's great. I always liked her.
Yeah. It was a great story. I tell you, I wouldn't.
What does she do now?
You know, she puts her name on about every fitness video she has, and she worked. I managed her health club out there, and
She's not on TV anymore.
No.
But what is she? 55 years old, somewhere around there.
I mean, she'd work a month a year, dub a new video. You know, she was averaging about 30,000 a month of sales. 49% of them never got out of the package.
Really?
Yeah. But you know, they take cost $5.
Half the people that buy them don't even open them?
Hardly. Yeah. Maybe open them, but maybe use them 3 times. But I think the spreadsheet showed us about 38% of them never got out of the package, and another almost 50% of them didn't use them over twice. But she would sell 30,000 a month for 1995.
30,000 units?
Yeah, they were in her prime time in the early 90s.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
That's some serious grossing she was doing there.
Mm-hmm. So everything she did turned into gold. You know, she was in with Jane Fonda.
That's $6 million, grossing $6 million a year in sales in just those tapes in the early '90s.
She was a great marketer. Her and Gunthy Ranker.
Yeah.
She wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed.
Gunthy Ranker, they do all those classic TV shows and all that.
Yeah, all the info stuff. But you know, I was just a farm boy. Went out there, and the guy that hired me, I asked him, I said, "Why'd you hire me?" And he said, "Well, you're not from here." And he goes, "If you grew up on a farm, you got some discipline to work."
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I kind of went from there.
That's great. And how'd you wind up in Louisville?
I was in South Bend, Indiana. I had a television show on Fox. And in South Bend, I had a fitness show, and I managed a health club called Pinnacle. And I was doing some work with some of the Notre Dame football team kind of on the side, and I got burned out. And I ended up down here to do a favor for a guy in another business, and he laid me off 6 months. Once I got down here in '97, and then I decided I was going to start specializing with people that were older. The market was headed toward the senior market and stuff, so I started working with diabetics and obese people, and started doing that. And then I created Resolutions, which had to do with the behavior and the psychology of exercise. And then I wrote my first book in 2000, and all the books came out of my concept of changing from the inside out. And then I started doing tours on steroid abuse. I was addicted to steroids when I was competing in bodybuilding, and now I tour around to FCA and talk to kids about the addiction of steroids and the pressures of fitting in. And that's really my calling.
Fellowship of Christian Athletes?
Yeah, that's really my. That's what I think I'll be doing.
That's great.
Yeah, and so I just came down here on a whim. 6 months after I got there, I had no friends, no family, nothing. But I needed to be here, and all this came about. If you would have told me I'd been doing all this, Terry, I would have said no way.
And you have no family here now? Or?
I have no family here now. My parents are still in Michigan on the farm. They've been married for 64 years.
Right.
And
that's so great. It amazes me how many farm people live these unbelievable lives.
My dad's got a 7th grade education, and he's never owned a penny to anybody.
Of course.
And it just puts tears in my eyes. He just goes down to Florida and fishes on Lake Okeechobee for 6 months out of the year. Called me last night. He got in at 11:30, out of the boat by himself. You know, jerry-rigged generator with lights on it, and he's got his poles out.
Living his dream.
83 years old, just loving it.
Living his dream.
Never owed a penny to anybody.
Little did he imagine fighting the snows in Michigan, you know, and all that business that he'd be in a position like that. But there has to be somebody that's got a positive attitude who's a leader for you, and that's him or both of them, mom and dad.
My mom and dad. My mom's the rock. My mom's the steady one. My father taught me to. We had the largest fresh fruit market in the world, right down in southwestern Michigan, and he taught me how to do sales and deal with people, and he taught me how to. Life was all about on the farm, from trimming the grapes to pruning the vines to faith. to.
What's next to that part of Michigan? Is that Wisconsin?
Oh, you got Wisconsin, yeah, right around
Right around there.
Yeah, but you got Indiana and then Ohio.
So yeah, that's Indiana and Wisconsin
And Illinois, they're
and
part of
Illinois
it.
are all
Yeah.
slamming together around.
But the lake effect snow there, that was brutal. I mean, you just. But the winters, we had to trim the grapes in the wintertime. And I remember a story I told I said, why are we doing this? He goes, you don't understand. He goes, if we don't trim the vines in February here, we're not going to get any grapes in April or in September because all the vines will be so bushy.
All right, we're going to talk a little about you to start, 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll come back and do a little more on the book. Okay?
Okay.
And all you have to do is just talk. You've done enough shows. Talk about this close to that mic, and you're fine. Just like we were talking right there. That's all you have to do.
Okay. Is it okay if I have halts? I got a cold.
Go right ahead. Nothing fancy about this show. Don't worry
Nope.
about it.
I do better impromptu anyway. Just joke.
Still to come on the broadcast, more of the Jackson brothers. Apparently they have a TV show. I don't know where it is. It's on one of the cable channels. The Jacksons. Trying to figure out where they're going to head next. Who's going to feed them? What are we going to do now? Because Michael's gone, of course. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Happy New Year to you. I know it's January 5th, but you can say Happy New Year, really, until Groundhog Day, can't you? I mean, it seems right. In the studio with me is an accomplished author by the name of Greg Ryan, a professional fitness expert. Hey, Greg, how are you, bro?
I'm doing fine, thanks,
Now,
Terry.
you've lived an interesting life. You grew up as a farm boy in Michigan. Was it fruits and vegetables your family raised?
Grapes and tomatoes. Those little cherry tomatoes that you eat on a salad.
Oh, those are great. Did you hate those by the time you were 6 years old?
I had nightmares.
Yeah, because you've stood among zillions of them.
Before I could walk, they'd throw me up on the table to pack those things.
And grapes, so what, wine cellars?
Big old Concord grapes,
Uh-huh.
juicy ones with spit the seeds out.
Can you eat those today?
I can eat them, but I got sick every time I'd ate so much of them. Yeah.
Your parents still live there on the farm?
Still live there on the farm. Been married 63 years.
That's terrific. And you decided you'd had enough of Michigan at some point in your life and decided to head to Los Angeles. Tell a little bit of that story.
No, I couldn't take it anymore. I mean, it was...
The tomatoes get to
the
you?
tomatoes, I mean, the green stuff, I couldn't take it, and it just broke my dad's heart. And one day I just woke up and I said, you know what, I had gotten into the bodybuilding world and done very well, turned professional at age 20, and I was a big fish in a little pond, and I decided to go out to Los Angeles, California.
My boy's a muscular freak.
Woo-wee.
That's what his dad was saying. What's
Hey.
happening to my son?
Yeah, he just, I was the freak. I was the freak of the family. I come from a family that's very overweight, diabetes, and so
I read that in this book. Let me read a part of this. Are you 42 now?
43.
43.
Thanks.
Okay. Well, you wrote here, I'm 42 years old. When I was growing up, life was much different for me than what it is today. I was a loner, an overweight, low self-esteem kid with no direction in my life. Well, you had direction in that you worked on a farm, though, so you had duties, you had chores.
Well, I had discipline, but I didn't have self-discipline.
Gotcha.
I had to do it. You know, it was the family thing.
And the whole family was overweight? Or
Yeah, pretty much. Way overweight.
Okay.
It wasn't anything about food or as far as eating right. They ate for taste.
So you started lifting, and you got yourself sculpted.
Yeah, I went to school to be an engineer. Mom and Dad wanted me to be an engineer and stay on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
So I found myself in the weight room because I didn't really want to study. And two guys kind of took me by the wings and said, hey, you know, we kind of believe in you. And I didn't believe in myself. I had no self-esteem. I was the only child. And so I started working out, and all of a sudden, you know, the body started changing, but the mind started changing, and it just developed a confidence in me that I never had before. Now, on the farm, I had the discipline, but I didn't have the self-discipline.
So you go to Los Angeles, you're going to go out there and be a star weightlifter? Is that the way it works?
Well, I wanted to be a trainer because, you know,
Okay.
being a professional bodybuilder, I thought, well, hey, I'm a big fish in a little pond in Michigan. I can go out to California.
Am I insulting you by saying weightlifter? I meant bodybuilder. Because it's like,
Oh, no.
That's like calling a runner a jogger.
No,
They hate that.
You can't insult me. So, no, yeah, well, we're weightlifters. You know, we're no bodybuilders are feelers.
But you wound up working for a very famous woman.
Yeah, I had a job. I had $500 to my name, Terry. I went down Route 66, man. My hands were plastered on the steering wheel, and I went out there, and there was one friend I had out there, and I said, now what do I do? In 1990, went out there and handed out my resumes, picked up the yellow pages, and Kathy Smith called me.
Kathy Smith.
The Kathy Smith.
When you go into the stores